This episode was filmed during Minister Kahlon's tenure as Minister of Housing.
A home. It's something we all need. But for too many, having a safe place to make a home is out of reach. The challenges can seem insurmountable. And yet, each and every day, people are coming together to provide safe, quality, and affordable housing for those in need. Welcome to Let's Talk Housing. I'm your host, Meeta Naidu. Join us as we listen to and learn from people in British Columbia who are creating strong, inclusive communities where everyone can thrive. Hi, and welcome to Let's Talk Housing. I'm your host, Meeta Naidu. Joining me today is the Minister of Housing and Municipal Affairs, Ravi Kahlon, and Alison Salgado, CEO of Senior Services Society of BC. Today, we'll be discussing two important programs that are helping British Columbians stay housed: the Rental Assistance Program, or RAP, and the Shelter Aid for Elderly Renters, or SAFER. We will also chat about how recent government changes allow more people to qualify for these benefits. As we begin, I'd like to respectfully acknowledge that I am recording from the territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations. For transparency, this episode is being recorded in June 2025 and reflects the issues and priorities of that time. Minister and Alison, welcome to Let's Talk Housing.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Let's start with the conversation with you, Minister Kahlon, and the basics. What are RAP and SAFER programs? Who are they for, and why were they created?
Well, RAP and SAFER programs are actually play a really critical, important role in our housing space. We know that there's often families, lower income families, who struggle to be able to afford housing in this crazy environment that we're living in. And we know seniors also are having significant impacts, fixed incomes, rising costs. So these two programs were designed to support people and families and seniors to ensure that they can either get housing or maintain their housing as they go forward. And we've seen the need, unfortunately, increase, not only here, but across the country. But we're fortunate in British Columbia because this program, I think, is well suited to help a lot of people.
It's quite amazing. There are some stats here that I just wanted to touch on quickly. 24,000 seniors are benefiting from SAFER as of May, and 3,000 families are benefiting from RAP. But there were some important changes made to both programs earlier this year that have contributed to this. Can you explain what changed and how these changes have kind of been helping people so far?
Well, the biggest changes are the fact that we've not only increased the threshold of how much income you can have to qualify, which was something I think we've been hearing for some time, but we also significantly increased the amount of dollars available for seniors in particular. I think it's 30% increase for folks who already are getting SAFER dollars. So that's a significant improvement, not only to ensure more people get access to the program, but also to ensure that those that are getting it are getting more, because we had heard feedback from people who said, yeah, we get it SAFER, it's great, it's important, we need it. But even with that, we're struggling. So I think those two changes hopefully will go a long way to support seniors. We know there's always more needed. I'm fully aware of that. We're aware of that. But this is definitely, I think, a positive step in the right direction.
I mean, these programs really do matter when you hear how they affect people's day-to-day lives. And we'll get to Alison to tell us a bit about that later. But when it comes to rental assistance for families, why is it important to support households where different generations or extended families live together?
Well, I'm fortunate that I grew up in an intergenerational family setting. And I always tell people that it's the best way to raise kids and have families be together. You know, I was raised by my grandparents because my parents were too busy working and couldn't really be home to keep an eye on us troublemakers. But because I was raised by my grandparents, I was able to have that connection to history, the connection to language, the connection to so many important things of our culture and in our communities that I would never have had if I were just literally doing it on my own. And so I think having that kind of environment is actually a lovely thing. And so when you look at the changes we're making around housing, allowing for, multiple units in a single family home, that actually leads to opportunities. But for those that are renting, we know that it's really challenging to be able to keep everybody in the house, needing units that are bigger so you can have auntie, uncle, or someone live with you. And so I think having more flexibility allows for that to happen.
And it's a beautiful thing. Not to mention the food.
Well, it's nice to have food. Although my mom's a fantastic cook, it was nice to have my grandma's cooking because, grandmas are just a little bit extra. Hopefully my mom's not listening to this because that's a controversial statement.
I mean, I see it with my own mom who lives with us now.
Yeah, it's always the case.
Yeah.
And kids are the beneficiaries of it.
Absolutely. Allison, quickly, we know that seniors are a big part of our communities, as we're talking about, as grandparents, as volunteers, as neighbors. How does helping seniors stay housed help the community as a whole?
That has been probably the biggest thing. And not just seniors who are directly family, because we've got a lot of first-generation Canadians, but seniors who have an adopted family in their new community. It's tremendous, the impact of them staying housed. But I think one often mistakes who a senior is, who's in that precarious position. And I did have a couple of examples to share, if that would be helpful. Is when you think of homeless, you think of a very different, people are stereotyping it. So if I may, I wanted to share a story about Peter, who is a 60-year-old gentleman who came to us. He was an immigrant to Canada for 30 years ago. And most of his adult life, he worked in manufacturing, steady work, modest but reliable income. And being first generation, he felt very proud of being self-sufficient and not asking for help. He really benefited from being in Canada and wanted to pride himself on being independent. And when the plant he worked at closed, he lost his sole source of income. And before long, his modest savings were dwindled. His rent kept increasing, and he soon fell behind on payments. For the first time, he actually contended with the idea of being homeless. Overwhelmed, ashamed, and really unsure, he was directed to us by a community health worker. And through our SHINE program, which is a navigation program for seniors, he was connected to SAFER. With SAFER, and Peter's application got submitted, quickly approved, he was able to get reliable monthly supplemental income and was able to stabilize his current housing without having an eviction, and was able to continue with part-time employment to ensure he had a good quality of life. And his comment to us at the end when he sent us a little note was, I didn't even know programs like SAFER existed. He said, I was lost. And just tell me, he says, what to do, walk with me step by step. I might have lost my home. So he's just one example of the many people we see who benefit. And they're just the average person. It could be you or me with one situation in your life creating that challenge. And that's who benefits quite often from SAFER. That's who the senior is. It's not somebody who you normally think of, and not somebody who'd look for resources and supports from government. So being able to access it is a huge win for them.
Absolutely. And the ability to not write people off, no matter their age. I would love to ask you the same question, Minister. How does helping seniors stay housed help the community as a whole?
Well, I appreciate Allison's example because it's also an additional group of people who are maybe too proud to ask for help, who struggle. And some of them, I've had them when I was, before I became Minister of Housing, I had people in my constituency who would say, I'm struggling between this and some of the medicine that I need to buy. And when you tell them about SAFER, then they're like, oh my God, I did not even know this existed. So part of our challenge, I think, is getting that word out to people, letting them know this is available, getting it accessible to more people. But those examples that Allison highlighted, or the example, is actually, first off, heartwarming because you want to see people that, get the actual benefit from it, but also a reminder that we have still a lot of work to make sure that people are aware of the program and they know they can contact BC Housing to get access to it.
So what kind of impact do you hope to see from these programs over the next few years?
I'm hoping that we are able to see more people being more stable in their housing. I'm hoping that we're able to see more families to be able to live together and have more security in their housing. And quite frankly, I'm hoping that we're able to slow the challenge that we're seeing, which is unfortunately more seniors finding themselves into homelessness situations. We're seeing a rapid increase in seniors who are just finding themselves not able to keep up with the cost of things. And so this program is instrumental. And hearing Allison's example and hearing the examples I've heard from around the province, it's showing me that this is the right direction we need to be heading.
Absolutely. And for seniors and families who might be unsure if they qualify for support, what would you say to them?
Contact BC Housing, contact Allison and the amazing work that they're doing. Go to BC Housing website. You can go to your local MLA's office. You can go to most not-for-profits because they'll know where there's access to these programs. And the dollars are available. And our hope is people get access to them as quick as possible.
So programs like these are designed to make a real difference. And Allison, you've seen that firsthand. And we've heard that through your example. From your experience as CEO of Senior Services Society, can you point to more positive feedback you've heard from people?
For most of the seniors that have been able to access SAFER, that meet that criteria, it's the difference between being homeless and it's the few $100s that would make a difference with them staying in the home that they've known for 30, 40 years or being homeless or relocating. And we know for a senior or for anybody, the home is not just the physical space, but it is connection to community, the supports, the resources that are around them. So being able to stay in a place that you're familiar with and the community supports, that is a huge plus. And that's what SAFER offers. At this time, with a lot of nonprofits and affordable housing providers exiting from their operating agreements and moving into models that have more LEM, low end of market units, and a blend with RGI, rent geared to income, that allows a lot of seniors to stay in their home and allows the landlords to be able to retain that particular tenancy if they can access SAFER. So it's a win for everybody, the landlord, the senior, as well as the system. In newer purpose-built rentals that are coming on the market, where a developer would like to offer units to a nonprofit in the local community, a senior would not otherwise be able to access market rental, but to be able to be part of that group that they can access SAFER with, that's just one more opportunity because the numbers of seniors in this group that are at risk of homelessness is increasing exponentially. They've increased 5 times in the last 10 years. So to be able to keep up with that housing options for them is critical.
When seniors have stable housing, it doesn't just help them, it helps everyone around them. As you're saying, there are systems that benefit, there's community that benefits. Allison, your organization helps seniors through some pretty tough housing situations. I have a couple of questions. How do you make sure they feel supported, not just with information, but emotionally too?
I think the work that our team does is truly incredible. They are able to come alongside the senior in their time of crisis. On average, we get about 12 to 14,000 calls a year. That is of a senior in crisis. So about 40 calls a day on average. So our team are really equipped and we support them to be able to meet the senior where they're at and to be patient. It's like peeling an onion because the person has to feel comfortable. They don't want to ask for help. They're really ashamed most of the time. So it takes some level of comfort to be able to disclose what the challenge and the need is. They may be homeless, but the pathways to homelessness for seniors are so many. And to be able to disclose that pathway and to be able to get help for that, whether it's digital scams or emotional or financial abuse from family or just the cost of living. There are so many ways that seniors get into a precarious housing situation. So having a team and a team that are well trained and able to support a senior at that time of crisis is just critical.
You mentioned aging in place. For people that don't know what that is, talk to me about what that is exactly and how it connects to dignity and confidence.
So aging in place, it's such a broad topic, and I don't think we often realize the implications. You can take it from the physical piece of a rental unit or a strata that was purpose-built maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago even. Aging in place is just being able, as you age, to be able to access every room in your home, whether it is the washroom or whether it is the laundry room. As you age, you may need access to a mobility vehicle or to a walker. And some of the doors in older buildings are not built to accommodate that. So if you can't access the laundry room in your building, now all of a sudden you need home help, not because you can't do laundry, but because you can't get through the door. And there are simple challenges. Or if you lived in a co-op housing quite often is built in a certain form, and it's built often for a particular demographic. Maybe it's a family demographic that a person renting to. And as they age in place, there are no studios or one bedrooms in that building that allows a person to be accommodated in a unit that fits their family size in their community. So quite often a senior is asked to leave just because there's no unit in that building that fits their size of family because their kids have moved on. And that can be quite disruptive. The other piece is around access to and connection to health supports. Health is governed by regions. And while there are intentions that transitions between regions happen, that always doesn't happen very smoothly. Quite often a senior can, when they move from one region, say from Vancouver region to the Fraser region, because it's cheaper maybe to live there, if their health supports don't transition and they have a mental health issue or they have certain critical illnesses, that becomes a barrier. And we had a recent incident where a person with income, with housing, transitioned regions, their mental supports did not transition with them. So there are some really tragic consequences of not being able to age in place because of the supports other than the physical home. And those are just on the physical side, right? And there are other supports with community and connection. The second example is the story of Mary, an Indigenous senior. And she was 67 years old when she reached out to us. She had lived in the Lower Mainland her whole life. And after years of caregiving for her family, Mary lived alone in a modest rental apartment and managed on a small pension. But as rents climbed, she was beginning to fall behind. She was very proud, private, and truly avoided asking for help, believing there was very little for somebody like her. When Mary confided in a friend at a local cultural center, they referred her to senior services and to our Shine program. During her first meeting with our navigator, Mary opened up about her financial strain. The navigator quickly identified that Mary had not heard of shelter aid for seniors and the rent supplement that she had qualified for many years previously. When Mary applied for SAFER, she was able to get it approved within a few weeks and was able to receive the much-needed monthly rent support. Through Shine, she was also able to access several other financial entitlements that helped her access additional income supports that were available particularly to Indigenous seniors. So she was able to stay housed, regain her peace of mind, and more importantly, her sense of dignity. SAFER helps tremendously with seniors where we've been able to access or support a senior, which SAFER has been able to walk alongside them. Because quite often when a senior is in crisis, they are a bit overwhelmed and they need that person to be alongside, filling in the forms, getting their documents together. And that's where the program that we've been working with for 6 years, our Shine Navigation Program, actually has a navigator who's equipped to navigate systems for seniors, working with a senior to be able to access the right supports. And where SAFER is the right support, they're able to expedite that and help them stabilize. So it definitely is something that has been hugely helpful. Most of the seniors that we work with are not technology savvy, so we cannot just give them a web link and ask them to go and access it, and they need somebody to help them through that process. And that's where the SHINE program comes in.
That's an amazing piece of this whole puzzle, and that is ensuring that access to these programs is made easy and barrier-free for seniors. It's wonderful.
The current changes to the program are very helpful, and look forward, as the minister said, to conversations on how we may be able to bridge the gaps that are there. There always are ways to do better. And so if there's a way to bridge some of the gaps that we've been experiencing, I look forward to that.
Yeah, I think the impacts are clear of these two programs, and the amendments that have been made have been even more helpful. But like the minister said, there's still work to do, and we'll do it. Thank you to our two guests for joining us today and sharing their insights. It's clear that programs like RAP and SAFER play a vital role in helping British Columbians, whether it's families working hard to make ends meet or seniors trying to stay in their homes as they age.
Yeah, thank you for having me for this important topic, and encourage people to share this information with as many people as they can. We want to see more people on this program, and thank you to Allison and her team, the amazing work they do, and lastly, a big thank you to everyone at BC Housing for the amazing work you do every single day to help people when they're in their hardest situations in their lives. So look forward to coming back if you have me.
We'll have you, definitely. Thank you again.
Thank you.
To our listeners, if you or someone you know might benefit from these programs, visit bchousing.org to learn more and see if you're eligible. To learn more about BC Housing, including how to apply for subsidized housing in British Columbia, visit www.bchousing.org. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and X. If you enjoyed this episode, give us a rating. This will help others find Let's Talk Housing and join the conversation. You can subscribe to Let's Talk Housing on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.